Things have been cooking, the potatoes are ready, the hops water is ready, so let's put things together and reactivate the starter. What we're going to do first is we're going to put 1 cup of bread flour for every gallon of water into our pot. So we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 cups of bread flour into our bucket. Now, we're going to be adding sugar and salt, again as the fertilizers to help activate our sourdough starter yeast. For every gallon of starter that you want, we'll use 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons of salt. Now I've already pre-measured these, so I'm going to add the sugar, I'm going to add the salt. Now then, we're going to strain the potato water into the bucket. You waltz off camera, get the strainer, and put it right in like that. And we're going to pour all of the potato water into the bucket. We're going to take the potatoes and put them back into the cooking pot. We're going to take our spoon. We're going to stir things up down here. What you'll see is that there are lumps in here. Now if I had been a little more careful, I would have taken more time to carefully add the water so that this wouldn't happen. So that actually would have a more even mixture without the lumps that you see. Now, we're going to set this aside for a second. We're going to mash the potatoes. Now I'm going to add a little more water to this. I have some hot water on the stove. I'm going to add a little water to start making our potato soup. Again, you don't want this to be very lumpy either, so we're going to try and be a little more careful with this than we were with the flour mixture. Then we can use a spoon to scrape down the potatoes from the sides. add a little more water. To make it pourable out of this pot and into the bucket. We'll scrape as much of that off as we can. Set the stomper aside. Add some more water. There. Now, I'm going to push that to one side. We're going to bring back our bucket and we're going to pour the potato gruel, potato soup, right into the mixture. Okay, so far what we have is a mixture of the flour, sugar, salt, and basically potato soup. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the hops. You see our hops have been simmering actually for about 15 minutes. You can see how dark the water is. That is the flavoring of the hops is now leached into the water. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take a strainer and we're going to separate the hops water just like this. I'm going to pour it right into our bucket. Set this aside. I have a whisk here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try and whisk out some of these lumps. We'll see how that goes. What we'll find is that with the use of the whisk, it's going to make up for my haste in adding so much water. Basically, I overwhelmed the flour with so much potato water. But what you'll see now is how even and smooth, for the most part, this base for our starter is. Going on, we have to be very careful about the temperature of the liquid. It cannot be too hot when I put the starter in. If it's too hot, what's going to happen is that it will kill sourdough bacteria. They will die and the starter will be lost. What we're looking for is a temperature that is blood warm. About 100 degrees. Lukewarm is not warm enough. Lukewarm is the temperature of the room. And today, in this early October morning, it's pretty cool here. So what we're going to do is actually add some cool water to this water that's been boiling to bring it down to the point where we can add the starter, which is cold because it's actually been in the spring. So the overall temperature at the end will be blood warm. And you can tell that not with a thermometer, but simply by putting your hand into it. If it feels warm but not hot, then you have a pretty good idea that you're in the ballpark in terms of how warm the liquid needs to be. Okay, let me get some water and I'll be right back. This is tricky because I want to add enough cool water to the mix here so that it doesn't kill the bacteria, the sourdough starter, when I put it in. On the other hand, I don't want to cool off to the point where I have to add more warm water. It's a balancing act. And we're going to work with this, adding warm water, cold water, to the point where we get it just right. So here is some cool water. And again, we're going to test it, knowing that when we put the starter in, it is going to cool down the water considerably. We'll put a little bit more in. It's still quite warm to the touch. I have some other warm water simmering on the stove that we can add if we need to. Again, this is a 5-gallon bucket, so we're going to put 4 gallons in it. It'll come up to about this bottom plastic rim on here. Now, right now I'm going to stir up the starter. The flour and potato mix has settled to the bottom. We're going to stir it up so it's an even consistency. And then we're going to pour it into the bucket. We're going to test the consistency. It's warm. It's good. It's good. I'm going to have a little bit more water here. I'm going to add some warm water. And we're going to bring it up to 4 gallons. Okay. This is nice and warm. I don't think we'll need to add any more cold water to it, or cool water. Again, we're going to take it up to this bottom rim. Almost there. And this is what we've got. This is our sourdough starter combined with warm water, flour, potatoes, sugar, and salt. We're going to smell it. Yes, there is a distinctive sourdough flavor already. It's minute. It's not as strong as it will be as the starter develops over the coming months and even years. But it's a good start. And also with the hops in here, we have that distinctive tangy hop smell. We're going to check the water temperature one more time. Again, it's warm to the touch. It's not room temperature. It's not lukewarm. You want it blood warm. It will feel distinctly warm to the touch without being hot. At this point, we're going to take this outside. We're going to set it in the sun, and we're going to let it do its magic all day long as this combination of sweeteners and salts, potatoes, flour, combined with the sourdough starter brings it back to life. This evening we're going to mix the bread, we're going to knead it, and we're going to let the dough rise all night. And then tomorrow we'll do our baking. So we're going to take this outside. This is why handles were made. We're going to set it out in the sun. And we're going to hope that things work according to plan.